Hey guys, and welcome to Vegan Booty Talks. Today I have a guest with me. He is a plant-based performance coach who helps people get fit faster and build healthier habits through the plant-based performance strategies. He has been vegan for about 3 years and has seen nothing but improvements to his health, mindset, and habits. Now his mission to help others develop that lifestyle for high performance through the power of plants. He works with vegans and those looking to incorporate or transition to the plant-based diet. He built 8-week program that helped people reach their goals and build quality of life. Welcome to the show, Kyle Labadie. Hey,
Yes,
how
thank
are you?
you. I'm awesome, man. I'm excited to finally do this. We've been talking forever. We finally got it done.
Yes, well, scheduling been really hard, but I'm really glad we didn't give up, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's gonna be fun.
Yes, I'm excited to talk about your 8-week program and about
Okay.
your coaching. But before we get started, I'm sure people are curious. Can you tell a little bit more about yourself? So where are you from and what do you do for living?
Yeah. So I am in the States in Virginia. And I have been doing kind of my online coaching thing for about 4 years now. And so 3 years doing it kind of vegan when I kind of made that transition over too. And so outside of that, I'd work in ministry too. So I get a chance to do that. I've been doing that for quite some time. And yeah, just I've been able to help people in any way that I can is kind of like really like a passion of mine too. So
Wow, well, I actually didn't know you're doing it for so long. Four
yeah,
years, you said?
yeah,
Four
yeah.
zero, right?
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So can you go back and get a little bit deeper how you actually get it started in the fitness industry and become a coach?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a great question. So at first it was like a passion. It was like a hobby. Like most people kind of start going to the gym. They're like, I want to get fit. I want to try some things out. So I actually did my first men's physique competition before I turned vegan, before I went vegan. I think I was in 2018. I think that's what it was. And so I did my first men's physique, and I basically went from, again, kind of starting it as just like a hobby or habit. I thought this would be a cool goal to do. And so I took about 6 months, and I had about 25% body fat. And in about 6 months, I got all the way down to about 7% body fat. Got on stage, first show ever. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a lot of muscle on my frame, so I got really really slim, and but it was a cool experience. It was cool to kind of do that. So from there, I was already dabbling kind of a little bit in just helping out friends and people like that, just with a little bit of knowledge that I had. But that's kind of when I started taking it a little more serious. I wanted to kind of like step it up a notch, and so a year or so went by, and then I started to kind of just realize that man, my body wasn't feeling the best. I was kind of plateauing in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I just was a little concerned about like what is going to happen with my health later on down the line. Because you see all the different documentaries out there, like What the Health and Forks Over Knives and things like that. So I started to kind of like, I don't know, I wanted to just kind of play around with nutrition a little bit and see if could I do something different with my diet that could help me get better results. And so that's when I kind of in about 2019, 2020, I started doing a little more research and started just kind of transitioning slowly. But when I saw the documentary, The Game Changers,
Mm-hmm.
that was the thing that took me over the edge. And so I started to transition over 8 weeks into more of a plant-based diet. And then once I started seeing the results, I mean, it revolutionized my training. I lost fat, built muscle. My digestion issues were cleared up. My sinus issues were cleared up. My recovery was better. My energy was better. My sleep was better. And I was like, I got to like help people discover what this is like, because this is game
Mm-hmm.
changing. And so, yeah, the rest has been history, man. Helping people for a few years now, and yeah, it's been awesome.
Wow. Well, what an incredible story, I could say. Thank you so much for sharing this, but I have
Yeah,
a couple of related questions. So first of all, when you did your first show,
yeah.
how old are you right now? So how far ago was that?
So I was 2018. So gosh, I'm 35 now. I'll be 36 this year. So I was like early
Uh-huh.
30s when I did that, my first show. So yeah.
Wow. So I'm sure in that time, like when you did your first show, it was really scary for you as everyone stepping on stage, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, but where the idea of actually doing it, getting you in so much in comfort came from?
Yeah. So I'm not unfamiliar with the stage, being like, I've been in ministry for years. And so being able to like,
Mm,
preach and being on the stage and doing things like that, or just being in public speaking. Like I've done a lot of stuff even when I was younger and I was as a kid. We did like a lot of
mm-hmm,
performances and stuff. Like I've been on national television shows, things like that, for like little
mm-hmm.
team things or whatever. So the spotlight wasn't so much the scary thing. It was kind of one of those goals that, I just, like I said, being in the gym and just kind of like that guy that was going to the gym. I saw, those things on Instagram. I saw those things on YouTube of people being on stages. And I was like, man, that'd be a really cool goal. I'm a goal-oriented guy. I'm like, if I want to
Mm-hmm.
transform my body, I need a goal. So I literally just, I remember it was one day, I just literally Googled a gym nearby with, a coach, somebody who does like bodybuilding coaching. And I looked up the the bodybuilding show that was nearby coming up in like 6 months. And so I looked up who that was, and it happened to be the owner of that gym. So I just went to him and said, "Hey man, I want to enter into a contest. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about this competition stuff. Could you train me?" And
Uh-huh.
he kind of brushed me off a little bit because I just, I was just this guy walking in, and he didn't think I was serious. But I told him, no, I'm serious. And so he's like, cool, meet me here on Monday. So we went, and Monday came around, and he took me through the most brutal leg day. And I almost threw up and was like, what am I doing? So yeah, that was where it all started.
Wow. And how was your first competition experience? Have you
It was awesome.
enjoyed? Okay.
Yeah, I
But you
loved it.
never compete before after that.
No, I didn't. I kind of took some time off because I don't know, I did it. And I think a couple of things I learned from it was, it was my first show. I really didn't know what to expect. I didn't know like how to train my body for a show. I was just trying to get in shape and then kind of show off my progress. So doing that show was great. We had some like just things happen in life and just different goals come up and things like that. So I was like, okay, that was a cool experience. But then I was more concerned about just my performance, my overall life performance. I really wasn't like so infatuated with the stage as much anymore. So I started to kind of go on that journey a little bit. And the moment that I, started to transition, into like a plant-based diet and go vegan, that's when I
Mm-hmm.
was like, and I think I could like do this performance thing and maybe even get back on stage. So I've been putting it off a little bit like for a few years because I've been working with clients so much and building business. But actually this year, 2023, I'm planning on stepping back on the stage in September. So
Nice. And
yeah.
which division do you compete?
So around here in Virginia, the OCB is pretty common, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of shows around here that it's just a little bit more simple to kind of get into. And plus, I like the idea of natural bodybuilder. I'm not one of those guys who are like going to try to puff up and take drugs and things like that. I'm not. I'm in this for health and performance, and so to be able to step on a natural bodybuilding stage, at the age that I'm 36, I'll be 36 at the time, and to do it as a vegan, plant-based, and I want to be able to show my clients, I want to show the world like it's doable, show my family, my son, like I was, it's kind of a goal. I'm a goal-oriented kind of guy, so doing that's going to help me move forward.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great that you point on natural bodybuilding because it's a big difference, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with it a lot because I did kind of compete quite a bit in natural bodybuilding, but then I was like, okay, I'm done with that. I want to move forward. So I moved
Right.
myself to kind of like, I wouldn't say unnatural
Yeah.
stage, but NPC and IBB is not tested. So you have
Right.
your choice. And it's been struggle for me because like I need to work double harder to get the
Yeah.
same results that other girls could get much quicker. But
Right.
it's a
Right.
challenge, and that's what makes it so like so cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I think having a goal and slowly, naturally moving to that direction is much better than get it done with specific supplementation and then mess up your health and then doesn't have any more goal to move
Right,
forward, right?
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, don't you don't want to ruin your life in order just to accomplish a goal. Like you want to actually, be able to achieve that goal, have incredible experience, take care of your health. So yeah, I totally get it.
You kind of like so when I interview vegans, they kind of go in three different groups for me, and you go in the groups that are really affected by movies, I guess, because
Yeah.
you said you watch that, you watch this, and then you transition to the plant-based diet. So you
Yeah.
kind of like a visual guy who
Yeah.
sees something bad and like, oh no, I don't want to be part of that. So,
Right.
But in the same time, your goal as a competitor, as the person who are spend so much time in the gym, and as an athlete, your goal to get as much muscles as possible. So I'm
Yeah,
sure, especially in those years, because now it's much obvious, but then like 10 years ago, 5 years ago,
right,
it wasn't as obvious, and everyone was screaming, "Oh my God, for the muscle growth, you need
right,
meat." So
right.
how you deal with that struggle?
It's funny because people always, I have a friend who just recently texted me. He has been keto for quite some time. So the
Hmm.
complete opposite of a plant-based diet.
Yeah.
And, he has been kind of struggling a little bit with, it's just, weight and stuff like that. So he reached out to me in the very same question. He's like, how do you hit your protein like on a plant-based diet? And I didn't know this, but for the past 2 weeks, he's actually been doing plant-based. And so
Mm.
we're really close friends. But I'm like, you didn't even tell me you're doing this. Like, what the world? So he's asking me these questions, like, how do you get your protein? So I'm just kind of like shooting out some information out there. And so to answer your question, it's super easy. I think to get protein on a plant-based diet, especially, I like to work with people on, and I tell them when I help them with a plant-based diet and high protein, delicious plant-based meals, I focus on 3 types of meals: easy, healthy, and tasty. Those are the those are the 3 things that I want to be able to focus on. And if you can
Yeah.
have those type of meals with high protein, then it makes life easier. So for me, it's oatmeals with high protein in them, whether you're putting protein powder in that, or you just have a mixture of hemp seeds or different nuts and seeds, and your protein oatmeal that you may get in a packet or something. I do tons of smoothies, adding in protein powders in there. I'll do, of course, any of the legumes or tempeh. I mean, there's tofu, there's seitan, there's all these different mock meats and things out there too. Like there's a variety. And so I try to really help people realize that, you don't have to just go completely whole food plant-based, and only eat these things. But if you want to, you can totally do that. And so another caveat to this point though is, if you're trying to pack on muscle, then you're going to need a lot more protein than the average person. And so you
Yeah.
don't, I think that's the protein conversation we know about, is that if you're just trying to switch over to a plant-based diet, like realistically, you can get all the protein you need from eating a whole food plant-based diet, and maybe having like some tempeh or tofu there. Like you don't need these, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight that, people always talk about, if you're just trying to be a healthy individual. But if you're trying to pack on muscle, then you have to focus on it more, using all your foods and everything, then maybe trying some protein powders, trying some, no cal bars or things like that, stuff that I love to have too. So it's just, wherever you are, you got to kind of just think about that.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. And I like to be a bad advocate in this situation, because this is the question that everyone asks me every day too. And I know it's easy, but
Yeah.
I want to make sure that people hear that again and again. So
Yeah,
finally we can bust that myth that
exactly.
building muscles on the vegan diet is hard. No, but the only thing that I think is a little bit harder, and I
Yeah.
want you to maybe say yes, maybe no, depends on your experience, is to actually get ready for a show, which
Mm,
mean on a plant-based diet is a little harder to put down a carbohydrates and keep the proteins and fats, keep proteins high and fats low. Isn't it
right.
a little harder just because the plant-based foods are usually comes with a carbohydrate like with them?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think right now I'm kind of in that journey where I'm in like more of a building bulking phase before September, comes, and then getting
Yeah.
into more of the cut. The only thing that I mean, I agree with you on that. The only thing that I probably would think is a little different. I recently just got my in-body scan, which I got my numbers and things like that, because I wanted to see where I was starting from. And so, over this past year, I've been, having all types of meal. Whatever I want to eat, I eat it, with this
Mm-hmm.
healthier mindset about things. And so I realized that by eating like, plant-based pizza, plant-based burgers and ice cream, but then having your smoothies and having your things here, that I was able to maintain, not even knowing it, about 10% body fat. And a lot of that is attributed to just the amount of, exercise, the types of meals you're having, and also knowing your body type. So I think you're right in that it could be very difficult just because of the high fat count and the carbohydrate count. I think too, what comes into play is, the types of food you're eating, how your body responds to, the high fiber in meals too, because is your
Yeah.
body absorb things? Is it not? But I also find it a little bit easier to, at least in my eyes, at least to kind of have or I'll say it this way, I find it easier to do more of a bulk on a plant-based diet and not hold so much fat. So I feel like when it comes time for the cutting phase, I think what would probably help is to get ready for the show as I'm doing my studying for myself, because I'm doing it in September, is I'm going to have a much smaller menu option for a season, just so I don't run into that issue of like high fats,
Yeah.
and this massive amount of processed carbohydrates or things like that. So I think you're right. It gets very specific. But even when I did my show and when I wasn't a vegan, that's kind of how it was. Like my meals were just like chicken and mixed veggies. And I had those, it was just so boring to get ready for the show. So I think with both, you kind of have that. It just also depends on, how your body does with certain foods.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I actually never struggle with that because, for example, me, I am absolutely okay with carbohydrates being high even on a prep. So
Right.
the amount of food I eat when I'm getting ready for a show is usually like no one is believe.
Right.
I eat a
Right.
lot, and I try to eat even double off season, and I never gain like more than like 15 pounds. So
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
vegan is actually great. Not be, like it's not meaning I eat French fries and Oreos every day. I
Right.
eat just high quality products with some fun foods here and there. But I
Yeah.
think your body is just, first of all, not hold so much inflammation, so you don't really look as puffy because you
Exactly.
don't eat dairy. But plus, just being plant-based, helping your body to digest things faster. And even with, if you're just gonna compare like plant-based ice cream and the like a regular ice cream, it's gonna have less fat. And
Yeah.
even if the nutrition label gonna show you the same fat, we have to make sure we remember that our body processed natural fat from almonds, cashews,
Right.
or coconut in a different way than the fat from the
Mhm.
like animals. So
Yep.
your body is actually spend calories to to digest and process those fats, and more calories than for ice cream from the co,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
that's something we have to count. Like in the same time, when you eat broccoli, your body spends so much more calories to break down those fibers, instead like you eating something like rice. So it's like really cool. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
really much. But I
Yeah.
just want to like throw this information out there because it's been a really question number one for me. Like, okay, like I got it. Like people, if when you are not getting ready for a show, yeah, it's easy, it's fun. You eat like my dishes are crazy big because of the
Right. Right.
vegetables, right? But like everyone is like, but when you get ready for a show, like what do you eat? Because you need low fat, low carbs. And I'm like,
Right.
well, this is a little harder. That's why you need a coach who
Yeah.
has an experience like you and me, but it's
Yep.
absolutely possible. And
Absolutely.
actually, I think you will eat more on a plant-based diet. Honestly.
100%. And yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree with that. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So I'm excited for your season. I will be absolutely following your journey on the
Be awesome.
stage. It's so cool, and I wish you get the best experience ever.
Yeah.
But I want to move kind of a little more towards your coaching, and I want to
Okay.
ask you about your 8-week program that you built. Can
Mhm.
you go a little more in deep and tell us, first of all, who maybe benefit from that program
Yeah.
and what is look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I typically do is I aim to help like just people who are busy, people who are just like, I don't have a lot of time to focus in on my fitness or my nutrition. And, I want to perform in life better, whether that's just at my job, for my family and my fitness. I just want to have a better routine, better lifestyle choices, things like that. So I focus a lot on just the idea of what I call plant-based performance strategies, which is taking the benefits of a plant-based diet and coupling that with these high performance strategies to give people this lifestyle that they never thought that they could do. And so
Mm-hmm.
what I typically do is I work with people who are trying to figure things out. Maybe they're new to being vegan, or they're interested in just trying out plant-based diet for a little bit and seeing how it works. Or it's people who've already been plant-based for a while. They just kind of want to go to that next level, those next things. And so I give people just that guidance through whether it's learning about plant-based diets, whether it's learning new high protein meals they can implement into their already existing training. And then the third thing would be giving people these, this coaching and these strategies for developing high performance habits, getting better sleep, having a better nighttime routine, better mindset, motivation, taking people through, just how to deal with the excuses, the ups and downs, the, lack of consistency, like just those little simple tips and tricks that they can kind of put into their daily life. And so the reason why I make it an 8-week program is because for me, I felt like, that was my journey. My journey was I literally experimented, with plant-based diet for 8 weeks. And I basically take people through what I did.
Wow.
And
So
so
you decided for your first going vegan for 8 weeks?
yeah, I just said I started in October, 1 year and 3 years ago. And it was right around the holidays, which probably wasn't the best idea, but
Yeah.
you know, so everybody's eating whatever. And I was like, I don't know. And so I started during the holidays. And by the end of the year, I had looked at my numbers and I was on pace. I think it was the end of the year, maybe a few weeks after that, where I had dropped 4% body fat and I gained 4 pounds of muscle. And prior
Wow.
to that, I was just like at a standstill. I was lifting everything I could. I was eating all the amounts of animal-based products that I was supposed to eat, quote unquote, and I wasn't seeing results. And the moment I made this transition, I said, man, I'm getting so many results. So that's what the 8-week program is, to help you kind of reimagine the results you can get. And if you're busy, you don't have the time to do it, this program is packaged for you. And I literally handhold people through the process. And I have one client who's been with me for over a year. Her name is Amber. And just quick little testimony from her. She literally was not vegan at all. She was, I think, 280 pounds, not vegan, had like all these different issues going on, was thinking about quitting before we even got started. And I told her, listen, I'll work with you. We'll out. Has lost over 80 pounds, first health issues, has more confidence in the gym, has been inspiring people with her journey. So that's the kind of stuff that gets me fired up. That's why I do this program. I want to coach people into better lifestyle habits,
Yeah, well, that's inspiring. And if anyone feel like this is a good fit for them, it's online program, right? So they can join online.
Yep.
And how they can
Yep.
find the
100%.
information and like
Yeah.
get joining?
You can actually click the link in my bio on Instagram, or you can go to www.plantbasedperformanceprogram.com and it'll take you right there to it.
Perfect. Yeah, I will add all this information, guys, in the description down below, so you can go ahead and press the link. I think it's amazing, and I like that it's 8 week because it's kind of a short period, but in the same time, you promise them they will feel better, they will get the performance done, and they will switch to the plant-based diet. So this is amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
When you was transition into the plant-based diet, what struggles, what difficulties did you face and how you overcome them?
Oh, great question. I think the first thing was the amount of fiber
Yeah.
that my body was taking. When I first went plant-based, I ate way too much fiber. And I remember like, my stomach doesn't feel too good. Like this isn't supposed to be what, how it works. And so I was tracking my food and I happened to go in and look at my fiber count and it was like through the roof. And I was like, oh, wow. So I have to kind of, learn what foods work well for my body. So since then, of course, my fiber intake is much higher and I'm, my body is used to it. But that was one of the first major ones. I was just like, it just was so much gas on the inside. And I was just like, I don't feel the best. And I had to learn kind of just how to, transition my body into, being able to take in more fiber, because before it was the exact opposite. It was like, it was digestion issues. And so I probably wasn't having a lot of fiber in my diet then. But once I kind of got that gut health better, once my microbiome was, reorganized, rearranged, it took about maybe 2 or 3 weeks to kind of get used to that. Actually, you know what? Now I think back, it took a little bit longer because it started to fade a little bit. But by the 6-week mark, I remember looking that up and it was like, hey, after 6 weeks, your body kind of adjusts better. But it got easier and easier. And by the 6-week mark, I was like, man, I can, I'm good now. Like I kind of understand things. And so I had to relearn, what food was good for me at certain times and this and that. But that was really the only thing that I actually struggle with. People ask me, did you, miss eating meat? Did you miss eating this, eating that? It's like, not at all. Like there's so many options out there, but that was literally it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, what things that you like used in order to get your stomach be more happier? Like, did you reduce the fiber, but maybe you add some probiotics? Maybe you are take some out some specific food, like
Yeah.
can because this is the common problem for a lot of people out there. So I'm wondering what helps, like what helped you.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, I took an approach where I said, let me just look at where the fiber is coming from, right? And so I looked at it, and I was having a lot of beans, a lot of the different leafy greens and things that I was, consuming a lot. I was like, okay, I need to slow this down a little. So I opted to go for my transition. I opted to go for more processed foods, half processed, half whole food based. Because when I first started, I was like, that's it. I'm going as much whole food as possible, and that just was way too much for me. So I just started I looked at, some vegan bagels, high protein bagels. I would do
Mm-hmm.
that instead of like this massive oatmeal bowl with tons of fruit in it that my body wasn't ready for. And so it was a good little like transition. And so that mixed in with, I started to introduce kombuchas because that was good for probiotics in there. I didn't want to take too many, different pills or capsules and things like that. I wasn't really sure. I was trying to, this is early on, I was to learn what companies were good and what companies had a bunch of trash in them and things. I started to eat a lot more tempeh because tempeh, was fermented. It was so good for the gut. So doing that, and then like you said earlier, like having some of those fun foods was
Mm-hmm.
always kind of like settling for me too. So it's just, I think it's a different approach, and I think I try to do that with my clients where I tell them like, hey, if you're in this health journey for a long haul, then you want to just try to slowly make this transition. You want to slowly implement what you can. And yeah, I see that it works for my clients all the
Yeah.
time.
That's amazing. Yes, I am really happy you shared that probiotics could be found in foods like
Yeah.
tempeh, kombucha,
Yeah.
some sourdough,
Yeah.
or maybe some yogurts. All those things are plant-based and
100%.
they are really good for your gut, even if you're not plant-based. Those are great for your gut too, because
Yep.
honestly, as a nutritionist, let me tell you, about 85 to 90% people live on this planet and they don't really realize that their gut is fucked up. It's really true. Like they are
Exactly.
think that
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
normal. And this is not normal. Feel like a bullshit after each meal. This is not normal, guys. If you feel like that,
Exactly.
sluggish, bloated after each meal, and like doesn't feel healthy enough to even move, go ahead and then change your diet because this is not normal at all. I just want to
Yep.
throw it out there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Great point.
I will feel like I will talk to you like forever. It's really been interesting conversation, but we have to kind of, wrap this up. But I have a last question that I ask everyone, and this is kind of hard one, but anyways, if it's gonna be the last day of your life on this planet, what you gonna do?
Oh my gosh. Last day. Spend it with my family, that's for sure. Just whatever, if I'm just with my family, having, good meals, good laughs, just enjoying. I think, going plant-based, it kind of sounds crazy, but has caused me, because I'm foods and things, it's caused me to just look at life different. It makes me look at like just wanting to be healthy, be with people who make me feel healthy even on the inside. And so being
Hmm.
with family, being happy, enjoying life, I think to me it's simple, but yeah, just doing that. And so whatever we're doing together, that's powerful for me.
That's amazing. And then last thing, can you
Mm.
please tell us your top 5 favorite protein food?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, this is good. So number one, I have to go with favorite, man, top five. That there's I'm thinking of all of them. I'm trying to think of what's the top one. Um, Number one, I would probably go with I do my smoothies. So I'll do a lot of protein powders and smoothies. I'm a big smoothie guy. I love that. So that's easy. I'll use tempeh, any type of mock meats that are high in protein and they're not so much in fat. I'll do that. I use a lot of like hemp seeds and things is my other one. And then I gotta throw in things like no cow bars. Like no cow bars for me are like easy, delicious snacks, high protein. So like I said, it's a variety of whole foods and some processed stuff.
Yeah, I love no bars too. I work with them too. Like I love that company. They're great.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. Thank you so much. And before I let you go, if anyone want to find you, follow your journey, and work with you, can you tell them again how they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Kyle, but on Instagram I'll go by at Coach Conquer, and that's Conquer with a K. The company that I run is Conquer Athletics, and that's what we do all of our plant-based performance programs through. And so if you're interested in the program, you can easily find me on Instagram, shoot me a DM, or you can go to plantbasedperformanceprogram.com.
Perfect. And I will add all those links, guys, in the description down below so you can easily find them. Thank you so much, Kyle. It's been a really amazing conversation. I'm sure people are going to benefit from that. And if you want to say something before you go ahead now.
Awesome.
Do you want to say something? No?
No, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for the
Oh, of
opportunity. And
course.
yeah,
No worries.
all good.
Thank you so much. I'll see you and hear you guys soon. Bye-bye.